What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Leave It to the Judges MMA show. I'm here with Nick and Xavier. Guys, we're going to be talking about UFC 309 today. It's a pretty interesting event, a lot of ups and downs. We're going to get started with the main event. Huge storyline. The GOAT is back. He did his thing. I think it went the way pretty much we all predicted. Stipe looked, he looked old, but he was out there. John Jones looked really creative on the feet, really good on the ground. That first round takedown. Lot of different narratives coming out of this fight. So, to you guys, what is the biggest narrative or you personally coming out of this fight?
Uh, I would say John Jones showed me that a lot of the tools that he uses, these heavyweights are just not ready for. Um, I would say outside of Cyril Gane, some of the striking that John was doing, I don't think that any of them are have really shown that wide of an arsenal in the striking game. And I think that showed against Stipe. It just seemed like he did not know what to do with the teeps up the middle. Just clearly a weapon he was just not accustomed to dealing with. And on John Jones's part, I thought that his cardio, like in round three, especially when he got the finish, he wasn't even breathing that heavy, man. I think that he has it in him to push a much higher pace, and I think he's gonna have to need it against like a Aspinall, or Alex, to be honest with you. But I was amazed with this performance by John Jones, man. Stipe, for all the age comments and shit, he was gaming there. I think that this Stipe, even though he's not in his prime, he could definitely beat a lot of the top 10 heavyweights still, like that version of him. I believe in him against a lot of them. So yeah, I feel like I was really impressed with John Jones and how he just controlled the cage, you know? I also was impressed with his power. He seemingly has punching power now at heavyweight, so that's kind of exciting. Like some of those jabs were stinging Stipe.
Well, I had multiple thoughts running through my mind watching this one.
Mhm.
It look, I was impressed by John Jones. He looked good on the feet, clearly was ahead the whole way, won every round. I mean, he looked good. The teeps were nice. I think he did do nice work to the body, most of the fight and the legs a little bit. Um, After having a very just fantastic first round where he took Stipe down on a very creative trip, was able to get so many vicious elbows down. It was pretty impressive. And I'm like, I don't know if there's anyone like that on the ground in the heavyweights. So I was impressed by that. However, we're not gonna walk past like Stipe did not come back and look the way Nick Diaz did against Robbie Lawler. We can't go past it. Like it was so slow. Like John, a concerning thing for me, John, the only concerning thing I saw throughout the fight was I think his defense at times. I didn't like the way he was spinning around and kind of moving out of some of those punches. Feel like against like a Tommy Aspinall, he could catch him on one of those if he just spins around. I mean, what kind of defense is that? So I was concerned about that a lot. But Steve could never track him down because he was just too slow and could never find him. Like that's why it didn't matter. But that was my only concern watching John on the feed. Just weird defensive movements where he would just spin around and like run away. It was just I don't know. Against a faster fighter, those are holes to exploit for sure. And Stipe just wasn't quick. He was very slow. He found the target a few times. When he did, had no pop on his shots the entire fight, really. I saw no pop out there. Um, it didn't seem like there was any game plan. I swear there were, like what was the game plan? Like We're gonna wait for John Jones to come to us with his creative striking, the power edge that he's going to have over Stipe at their ages, just better technique. Like we're gonna wait for him to come to us. That was the game plan apparently. And John just picked him apart the entire fight because he let him do it basically and had no speed to back it up. But it's what I expected. He's a firefighter. He was retired. He's 60 years old. He was 5 years off. Like, I completely understand why this happened. Like, it makes sense. But look, nevertheless, I was impressed by John Jones. He's the GOAT. I would take him against everyone. Against Tommy A right now, after what I just saw, I think he's vulnerable in the feed against Tommy A. That's what I'll say. I wish he went for more takedowns. Well, that's it. That's all I gotta say about this.
Yeah, I'll
Uh,
say John Jones. He looked very impressive. The last fight against Gon, we really didn't get to see a lot from John. He kind of just took him down, submitted him instantly. Now I think we all know what John Jones looks like at heavyweight, what he officially looks like at heavyweight in his second fight. He looked great. The takedown threat is there no matter what position you're in, whether it's like he's shooting in from distance, up close in the clinch. He can get you on the ground. That round and pound, ground and pound in round one was absolutely vicious on Stipe. I think that rattled him really bad. Um, I predicted a fight pretty much how it went. I knew John was going to catch him something big on the feet. I didn't think it'd be a body shot like that. I thought the body work was absolutely beautiful. I don't think we see that enough in MMA, especially at heavyweight. Kind of use Stipe's weapon against him, and then finish him on the ground with ground and pound. I agree with you, Clark. I think besides Aspinall, I would 100% pick John over Pereira and every heavyweight in the UFC right now. But yeah, I just can't deny it, man. Stipe did not look good. Stipe looked very slow and sluggish and stiff. And literally all he was doing, his only form of offense was boxing. Was boxing. No kicks, no takedowns, elbows, teep kicks, knees, anything. It was just straight boxing, throwing slow 1-2s. There was no pop behind his shots. He looked stiff out there. He looked completely outmatched. And yeah, he retired after. Shout out to Stipe. John looked amazing. I'm still gonna lean Aspinall. But yeah, this fight went how I pretty much how everyone thought it would go. Stipe would go in there, he'd look tough for a while, show resilience. But John Jones is John Jones. He's younger, faster. He's just better right now. And yeah, Xavier, I know John's your boy. It was a great performance by him, but Stipe looked pretty terrible. I can't deny it.
boys, 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 how quickly we forget. How quickly we forget in this game, man. How quickly we forget what John Jones has done throughout his whole career. Adapt to different challenges and win, different styles and win. I feel like this John was kind of testing the waters a little bit. I think that after what I saw in round one, I felt like John probably could have forced the grappling. He clearly had Stipe entirely outmatched in the grappling and the wrestling. And I think that he could have just kept going to the well and dominating him on the ground and like how he did in round one. I think that a lot of this performance was for John was like testing himself at heavyweight, how he felt, his cardio, et cetera, et cetera. I think John kind of like wanted this fight to get drawn out a bit. I think that he wanted to like feel like obviously not get punched by Stipe clean, but I think he wanted to like just feel what it was like to exchange that heavyweight on the feet, answer some questions for himself. I thought that in the couple of times that Stipe did catch him, and like despite how you guys are making it seem, Stipe did catch him a couple of times clean. Were pretty decent shots, and I thought that John Jones barbecue chicken ate those bitches. So I thought that was like really impressive. I thought that his range management was decent. I thought that, like I said earlier, the power with his hands was a lot greater, it seemed. And we can't act like Stipe's chin was gone because we just saw him like get elbowed and beat into oblivion. I feel like if his chin was gone, he would have went out when John Jones was ground and pounding him in round one. So I thought that Stipe He got rocked a couple times, but never like John Jones is no knockout artist, right? So I mean, he would just sting him with like the jab and then get back on his patient shit. I thought that John was like showed a lot of patience. There was times where he could have like tried to rush the finish, but we all know that that's not John. He's like too tactical to like run into a bomb, which honestly, if you look at the whole culmination of Aspinall's career so far, is it really anything different than that? All these heavyweights just trying to exchange with him on the feet and running into a Tom Aspinall bomb. Like John's too smart for that shit, man. Teeps up the middle. Aspinall's not gonna know what to do. I think that John Jones, like what British fighter could fucking wrestle? None of them. They don't even have good wrestling over there. You know what I mean? John Jones is gonna show Aspinall what fucking good old fashioned American wrestling is. Good luck with your sub attempts, because John Jones raining elbows down on you. And I think that all that shit is gonna culminate in a John Jones win. I am more confident than ever. I needed to see him go a little longer, see what the stand up looked like. I thought he was slipping punches well. Granted, I do assume that the Aspinall punches are gonna come like double speed, but like at the end of the day, his instincts were there. I mean, John Jones has been inactive as well, you know what I mean? He's still knocking off ring rust as well, so I think he's gonna come out even better against Aspinall, and I can't wait to shut you guys up, man. To shut you guys up, literally.
Oh, I mean, look. I would still pick John Jones, but just there was just some things I wasn't liking. The speed, the defensive responsibilities against someone as dangerous like Tommy A. Like I get worried about some of these things, but I will still take John in that fight. Like he's the GOAT. He hasn't been beaten. His loss should be taken away since the 12-6 is now legal. We might as well get that loss out of there. I don't think it's possible, but undefeated basically. I have all the respect for the man, but he fought an old man. He fought an old man in there.
Yeah. I'm still gonna pick Aspinall. Yeah, John Jones did a lot of those things you were saying, Xavier, that like could give Tom problems, but you understand he was doing that against a 42-year-old Stipe. Aspinall is the quickest heavyweight in the UFC. He's ginormous, has the most power in the heavyweight division, most accuracy. He can wrestle for sure. He can definitely wrestle. He has a really good submission game. I just feel like John is going to be fighting someone that he's never fought before. He's never fought anyone like Aspinall before, especially at heavyweight.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, like, if John went for more takedowns in this fight, I would be more confident in taking him against
Yeah,
him. That was my thing as well, like, because I think he does have the edge against Aspinall down there by like a decent margin, I feel. But if he just stays with Tom on the feet the whole time, I feel like, I mean, I don't see that ending that well based
John
on
Jones
what
is an
I saw.
IQ man, Clark. He's an IQ man. You know that. You guys both
I
know.
know.
He's gonna do what he needs to do to win the fight. I don't think that he's gonna stay. I don't think he's gonna treat like. I don't think John Jones is a fighter that like with a poor IQ where we're like, why don't you just do the thing that you need to do to win the fight? I think that John Jones knows that like where his path is. I think he's gonna want to play on the feet with Aspinall a lot less. I think, like I said, I think that he knows he could have finished Stipe on the ground and was trying to just test himself in the stand up, fine tune the stand up, man. I think he was just trying to get all his weapons sharpened for this Tom Aspinall fight.
I get that. It's just I don't think John Jones can do what he did to Stipe to Aspinall. I think John could win a 5 round decision over Aspinall. That would be my pick if I was backing John. But you are not landing those type of shots that freely on a guy like Tom Aspinall. Stipe was standing there like a punching bag, bro. But all right. Well, it's obviously it's for sure is going to be Aspinall though next, right? Like no more debates, no more. He's not retiring. Dana shut down the Alex shit. It's
Yeah.
100% Aspinall, right?
90% chance. 90.
Yeah. He said unless they hound him for it, which they definitely will. So he
They
basically
definitely,
said it.
but
Yeah, it might happen.
Mm. Tough fight. That's a tough fight.
Yeah, but no, okay. So Aspinall for sure is next. How fast do you guys want to see that fight get made? John Jones is older. I know it's in a bigger weight class. He hasn't lost a step at all, but like, I don't want to wait like a damn year to see this fight, you know?
I mean, I want to see about like, I mean, if he's healthy, God willing, like if John Jones like got out of that unscathed, maybe by like April, bro. Like give it about 5 4 months. Like
International Fight Week, maybe.
yeah, like let's run it. Let's run it in like 4 or 5 months, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alrighty though. Alrighty though. Let's move on to the other side of the coin. Stipe, man, he did actually, but he put the gloves down, retired. Totally right move. Shout out to him. Excellent career, solid citizen. We all love Stipe here. Anything on Stipe, guys, before we move on?
Nothing but respect, even though you guys continue to disrespect him. He was in round three, clearly winging punches that would have taken a lot of these other heavyweights out in round three. Like in a fight that he was getting his ass whipped, he was still there until to the end. Like y'all act like Stipe was a punching bag in there and in a sitting duck, and he was not. Like even John Jones had like a nice little shiner under his eye at the after the fight. Like the disrespect that you are being shown, Stipe, is crazy. But I know that you could take out at least half of the half of the top 10 heavyweights still right now, like right now live. So respect to you, and I wish you all the well in your firefighting endeavors.
I completely disagree that he could take out most of the top 10 right now. But I do respect Stipe. He's had a great career. Like, I respect it, but he's old. Like,
No, no, I get
you
it.
can't deny that he's old. Like, we just can't. We can't just go by it. And look, I respect Stipe so much. Is he still the heavyweight goat? I guess still. Like, I feel like if John beats Tom, then he would be, but
No, for sure. He would definitely be at that point.
need to beat
Oh yeah.
Tom. I think he would. But yeah, Stipe is still the heavyweight goat and one of the better careers of any fighter ever. I mean, I'd put him top
Tell me
three.
that Stipe can't beat Volkov right now, bro. You can't tell me that he
Dude,
can't.
Volkov might pick his ass up. A 3 round fight, he just might outstrike
Like,
him for 3 rounds.
X, like,
Bro,
Your boy,
definitely beat.
your
are
boy
you
Blades, I think would give Stipe
I, I
issues.
I think Blades is different, but that's a whole different beast.
I would pick Sergey to beat him, unfortunately.
are you
But
just look slow?
I would also pick Pavlovich to beat him, but
it's
like
too big. But yeah, shout out Stipe. Let's move on to this co-main event at lightweight. Yeah, Nick's already bricked up over this one. We got Charles Oliveira winning a 5 round dominant decision over Chandler. Chandler had his moments, especially in round 5 on the feet. But first of all, Oliveira looked ginormous in there. But yeah, Oliveira, one of the first times we've seen him shoot takedowns a lot like that. Successful he went 5 for 12, 2 submission attempts. He also looked very crisp on the feet. He did get hit a couple times, but his offense looked really good. Clark, your boy bounced back from an L in July. How are we feeling on the olives train?
Pretty good. Hey, even Joe Rogan thought he would have gave that decision to Oliveira, so we
He did.
realistically should be fighting for the belt right now. But it's all good. It's all good. We'll chill. But it was just domination. I mean, Michael Chandler just wasted training for Conor McGregor just to come for a rematch to look like shit. He did not look good whatsoever. Like,
he still almost finished your boy though. Come on, respect him.
yeah, fifth round, but that's an Oliveira fight. As an Oliveira fan, we understand these moments are gonna happen in the fight with Oliveira. And by the way, if this was a normal 3 round fight like it should have been, the story would just have been Oliveira dominating him 3 rounds. But I mean, it was just complete domination. He couldn't stop a takedown to save his life. Oliveira was just smart. He gassed him out early from the takedowns. And I feel like Chandler, like round 3 and on, really only had enough energy for like a quick burst, maybe the first like 2 minutes of each round. And then by the time it got to like the middle of the round, though, like Oliveira would just be picking him apart. The knees, the flying knees were working so well. So many right crosses. The leg kicks late in the fight as well were paying off. Had that little stomp in the fifth round. Just creative all over the place. On the ground, maybe I would have loved to see a little more potential finishing. I think he was just content with kind of draining his energy. So he was just chill with just like being on his back. But I do wish he would have looked for the finish a little more. But yeah, I mean, got a little hairy in the fifth round. Chandler caught him per se. But let's not forget, Chandler cheated about like 50 times over the course of this fight. He grabbed the fence about 4 times. Uh, he blatantly grabbed one on a takedown. I remember literally hanging on to the top of the fence.
I saw that one.
Like that was crazy. And then when when Chandler hurt him, once again, just bad fight IQ. He just went in there crazy, swung an uppercut, missed, of course, and then Oliveira was able to transition into I guess, a half takedown, but Chandler had position on him, so whatever you call that, I guess. But uh, the scramble, and then, I mean, how, as a ref, how do you not call that back to the head when you're blatantly standing right there? Like he was right there, like inside of you, Michael Chandler, and I'm just happy they didn't stop the fight and like Oliveira somehow survived it because they easily, I guess, could have stopped it. Like he was just clearly hitting the back of the head, wasn't even close. Like it was clearly back to the head about 15 straight times. I just don't understand how you're not calling that. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. So outside of that one moment Chandler had, I mean, he ended up getting his back taken in the last minute. So pure domination from my man. We'll be back in that title soon. That's gonna be a tough fight though in Makachev. Not
Yeah.
looking the most forward to that, but hey, we're back, man. We do our thing. We showed levels, levels.
Yeah, I thought
For sure.
Oliveira looked great. Best wrestling that I've seen from him in any fight, basically offensively. I just realized it was the Chandler, and I feel like I should have realized this. The whole wild man thing can only get you so far. Watching this fight, and you could watch his other fights, he has to, in order for him to get his offense off, his punches off, he has to take so many risks to get there. And in this fight, it just wasn't working from him. When he was going for those big bombs, either Charles was just slicker and would out counter strike him, and Oliveira was landing so much. Chandler was literally sprinting away from him in the cage. It was either that or he's just going to end up taken down on his back. Chandler, like, oh, it's just hard to watch. Like, there was no like suave to this. There was no technique. He was just in there, just like he was just looking for the kill, man. And against a guy who's so crafty and diverse like Oliveira, it didn't pan out for him. He called out Connor, which I guess was the right move at the end. I don't know. I would just not very. I was pretty disappointed by Chandler's performance, for being honest. Oliveira, like, not taking anything from Oliveira at all. Just Chandler was very disappointing.
It was kind of the same, like no game. It looked like
No
he had
game plan.
a plan as well. Looked like he came in with no game plan.
I think his game plan was just to, bang with Oliveira on the feet, knock him out. And I think that once he started getting clipped early, he got a little gun shy towards the middle of the fight. I mean, how could you not when like Charles had him on skates for like 2 rounds, it seemed like. But shout out his resilience, man. Shout out his submission defense, man. That is elite. Like I can't think of too many people who can just survive on the ground with him, like with Oliveira in dominant positions on him, like basically making it look like fucking Derek Lewis versus Jay Alton Almeida. He wasn't doing shit down there. Charles wasn't really threatening him with very much, compared to like other opponents. Very few position changes. He would just kind of stay in position and try to work. I thought that had Charles like opened him up with like more striking instead of just trying to go for the chokes, making it like a little bit more of a MMA grappling than like straight jujitsu. I think he probably could have like punched his way into a sub or something. But I mean, still shout out Chandler, man. Shout out Chandler for his defense. But yeah, Charles whooped his ass until he wasn't, man. Until he wasn't. Round five, Chandler, showed that he was not in fact gassed, and actually got on Charles Oliveira's ass, man. I love when a fighter knows he's down, and I respect when a fighter knows he's down and they actually go out in the fifth instead of quitting on themselves and just trying to make it to the bell. They actually go out on their shield, like. Yeah, you're gonna have to take some risks and you might get knocked out doing it, but damn it, if that's your only way to win, I need to see you going down throwing. And I think that more fighters can take his example because it almost worked. Same thing with like Nate Diaz against fucking Leon and shit. Like, you know what I mean? You gotta go down swinging and you never know what might happen in the fight game. So, I mean, I was impressed with both guys. Charles Oliveira looked like he's ready for another title shot. And that would be kind of annoying because I need to see Islam fight new challengers, but he can be the Max Holloway of this division if he wants. Maybe he can even fight Max Holloway. I was thinking about that. Maybe he can even fight Max Holloway, even though Max will whoop his ass. But I mean, I still
Good
love
one.
this.
Really quickly talk about what is next for Oliveira. For Chandler, we could discuss it, but I feel like it's really just such in limbo what's next for him. Let's talk about Oliveira next. Now, he does deserve a title shot. You can definitely make that argument. I see a lot of Max Holloway floating out there. Like Oliveira could just be a guy in super fun fights. Give me a name, guys, who you think he is going to fight next. Who is the UFC going to pair him up against next? Give me one name.
Hmm. Max would make sense.
Yeah, I think it's
Max Holloway, gotta be.
Max at five. He's moving up to lightweight. They fought before, right? So this would be a rematch.
yeah, they fought at featherweight a long ass time ago.
Holloway beat him, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense. Completely makes sense, honestly.
That's what I would run to.
Is
Yeah,
it
either
is
sorry.
Logan make that a title eliminator?
Yeah, definitely.
Win over Justin, so
Yeah, I think it's either Holloway or McGregor for Oliveira next. I think those are the two prime names. Can't go wrong either way. But let's move on, guys, to the featured fight of the night. Another fight with a lot of controversy around it. We got Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. Bo Nickel pretty much pitched a shutout, 3 rounds to 0. Did not shoot a single takedown. I guess you can make the argument. I hate this argument, by the way, that he was just testing his stand up. But like, bro, if you're that level of a wrestler, just shoot the takedown. I know the people in the commentary booth like, he's so scared to shoot a takedown because of Paul Craig's jiu-jitsu. I wasn't buying that. I think Bo Nickel was just kind of testing out his stand up. Overhand left spamming Merchant, by the way, but I'm not going to get on his ass too much about how he looked on the stand up just because he's so young in his career. A lot of people are being very harsh on him. He thinks he put on a masterclass. Where are you guys sitting on that spectrum?
Well, it definitely was no masterclass. I thought that he did a good job of staying safe on the feet. I thought that the size difference was very apparent.
Oh, yeah.
Craig looked fucking massive in there, and I think that that definitely played a part. I think that even though he probably trusts his wrestling and his submission defense and skills and shit, I think that because Paul Craig is just known to have a most dangerous guard, like have one of the most dangerous guards like in the division, and in the sport, I would even say, excuse me, and in the sport, I would even say, I just kind of thought it was a business decision from him just to not really engage him in like where he had his biggest chance of winning. I actually thought that he did not look great in the stand up either. To be honest, like you said, he was spamming that overhand right. I think that maybe he probably wanted like a walk off KO with that bitch. I thought that he was gonna rock Paul Craig, which just was not the case. That big ass head of Paul Craig just ate that bitch every time. And he did land it. I was surprised he was able to land that overhand. What was that? Was it a right or left?
I think it was left.
Well, if it was, yeah, that overhand left, I was surprised he was able to land it as many times as he did, considering how much he was throwing it. It was basically like the only real strike he was throwing. So that and like leg kicks. But I mean, like, yeah, I can't say too much about this performance. I mean, he kind of pitched the shutout. Like I kind of thought he won all three rounds, but like I think round two was like kind of up for grabs in my mind, just because like one of those uneventful ones, and it seemed like when Paul Craig did like hit him with anything, maybe it was just the size, but it just seemed like it was a more impactful, or that he was like more reactive to it, like more just afraid, more just on edge. But I mean, not the most impressive win. Not it didn't really tell me he's ready for like the higher like a higher level fight than that. And it damn sure like told me that he is not ready for like a Hamzat type or anyone of the caliber. I think he'd get his ass beat up there. So, but I mean, like, solid win. You have to beat Paul Craig at this stage in his career and at this stage in your career. And he did that, so can't really complain too much.
Yeah, this was a sloppy woppy fight, as I call it. Uh,
Floppy.
it was it was sloppy. Let me tell you. As expected, well, I expected Bo to be a little more technical. I feel like from what I've seen from him before on the feet. I guess usually the opponents he's fought before just get like clipped with the first shot and just get knocked out because they're just trash or something. But like, I don't know. The first time I really get to see his striking throughout a fight, and it does not look very clean. It's not very polished, but he has time. He's very early in his career. It just feels like even putting him against a top 15 next fight feels too soon right now. Even though the wrestling's great, he always has that. I just, the stand up worries me watching this fight. I thought he won. I personally had it 29-28, but I thought he won the fight. Paul Craig, he's just, you know, the man wins his fights by being off of his back. So when he's not on his back, I can't really expect the man to win. So it's what I expected, I guess. I wish Bo like looked a little sharper on the feet, confidence wise, but he has time still. He's got a while, but they better not just throw him against like a top 15 right now, I feel.
I'm,
What were you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm reading off the list. I think most of these guys would smoke him, to be honest. What were we gonna say?
Um, what was I going to say? Oh, what were your guys' before this fight expectations on Bo Nickel? Let's say 3 to 5 years down the line. Like, were you guys looking at him as a future champion, or like
Potentially.
ever? You guys think so?
I mean, I think he can get to that level just because his wrestling is so dominant. And like in middleweight, like they don't have the best wrestling, man. Like who are the best wrestlers? Hamzat,
And DDP.
Fluffy.
Yeah, those three.
DDP, and Fluffy, really, right? Brendan Allen has solid grappling, but not, I would say, of that level. So, I mean, it's more of like a styles make fights thing. I think he's gonna always kind of be at a striking disadvantage, but if he like so was Khabib in a lot of his fights. If he can just like hone in on the wrestling enough and just like kind of spam the wrestling, I think he can spam wrestle his way to a title shot. What's
Yeah, I don't even think he needs like great striking really even. Like just
It's
what
got to
could
be
be
better than that, though,
like
for sure.
solid. Like just not
Just
sloppy,
solid.
just not sloppy woppy, man.
Yeah, no,
But
definitely. All right, though. Let's move on to the next fight. We got Karina Silva versus Vivian Araujo. Very close fight. I do think the right woman won. It could have gone either way. Pretty good fight, entertaining. What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, I was impressed with both girls. A little less impressed with Silva than I was going in. I thought she was gonna like honestly, I thought this fight was gonna be a lot more grapple heavy than it was. And I thought that like played to Arujo's advantage, just her experience in the striking department. She had like a wider range of tools, but it did seem like Silva had the power advantage. I think she got hit in the nose and probably it seemed like she did one of those like don't blow your nose, and then like your eyes both swell up type shit. Like, cause her eyes kind of swell up out of nowhere, and I was like, I know she hasn't taken that much punishment to the eyes for her eyes to be that swollen, but her nose was kind of leaking, so I do think she kind of blew her nose and I think that kind of swayed things like against her. She was kind of like looking real puffy and like probably couldn't see as well. And obviously, like at that point, you start to look all busted up. You start to get like less composed than you would if you were winning the fight. Um, I thought she landed some powerful strikes. She definitely is powerful for the weight division. Close fight. Um, but yeah, I do think that Aruja won, like to my surprise, honestly, and to my parlay's dismay. I was like, "Fuck, she's really getting her ass beaten there a little."
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
she showed grit.
yeah. I was surprised the most though that Araujo was the stronger of the two. Just like from a size, they were like similar size, you'd say, right? I'd say Silva maybe was even a little bigger.
Bigger, a little bigger.
Yeah, and I was just surprised Araujo kind of seemingly had the strength advantage at times. So I was impressed by that. I wish Silva was able to get more into the grappling because I do feel like that's where she's at her best. She could definitely stand and strike as we saw, but it was a close fight. Kind of go can go either way. I think Araujo clinched it though. She was just slightly, just kind of outpointing her, like to the slightest edge, I would say. So, I mean, overall, both fought well. Even more impressive, I guess, that Silva, with the puffy eyes, was able to fight through that as well as she did. Uh, Definitely a learning fight for Silva. I think she'll get better from this and keep improving. Clutch win by Araujo, though, especially at her age. Like, if she lost this, definitely could have been lost in the rankings, but big win for her against a rising contender. So, good shit.
Alrighty. Let's move on, guys, to the opener of the card. We got Marcio Rufi versus James Lomtop. Lomtop did miss weight by quite a bit. He looked big as hell in there. Like he looked way big. You could tell like he didn't cut weight, but hey, man, he showed heart. Rufi looked very impressive the first two rounds, looking like Brazilian McGregor out there, hitting some really cool looking powerful strikes. But hey, he started to wane a little. Lomtop wasn't going away towards the end. He was never really in trouble, but saw some cardio issues. What are you guys' thoughts on this showcase fight for Rufi and the Fighting Nerds?
I think that he showcased something he didn't want to put on tape, which was his sus gas tank. Um, it's been long talked about with like Conor McGregor being the main culprit, but like when you have these like fast twitch fighters who have like a bunch of power, that usually comes at like a cost of like your output and cardio. And we just seen that like Rufi is a culprit, and he's just gonna have to manage his energy a little better in fights. I think that he was throwing strikes. I think that he expected Top to like get out of there. And I think that because I think largely because of the weight miss, like he was able to eat a lot of the roofie shots, even though he got clipped a few times. I thought he was able to eat the shots with that extra weight, and I think that that was unexpected. Same thing like the Nate Diaz effect, where he was like, where kind of was punching Nate Diaz with everything he had, and he just wasn't going down. And like by the second fight, Connor had to like, okay, I'm not gonna throw everything. I'm not gonna throw everything with the intent to knock him out. Like some guys are just not gonna go down, and I have to just pace myself. And I think that Rufi, this was a good learning lesson. Um, Fighting Nerd still killing it, but I think that this did like um put more questions about Rufy. Like we can't just like shoot him up the ranks and until he does more work. Working on that gas tank. I just need to see more at this point. But impressive win for sure.
Yeah, it was a nice win. I think Roofy looked. Is it Roofy or Ruffy?
I think they were saying Roofy.
Really? Okay. Um, so he looked good the first two rounds. Um, was definitely tagging lone top throughout the rounds. Getting nice straights off. I thought the overhand right was his best weapon throughout the fight. I thought those were the hardest landing. He was quick in there. He definitely had the speed on lone top. Um, Definitely could be due to missing weight. But man, Lone Top, like I knew this man was tough. Like watching him in that Borshev fight, he ate so many shots, and I knew he was gonna be there. And he made this an interesting fight in the third round for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, when Rufy did get tired, and that's something he's gonna have to work on for sure. Uh, but I think against a lot of people, he could get him out of there quick.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed. Because even though, like, Lone Top, honestly, a very tough dude, and I think even knocking him down is proof of like pretty good power. So I think against most guys, he could kind of get him out there early, but he's definitely gonna have to work on the cardio for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, and also just long top missing weight by like he missed weight by like a lot. That has to help your chin and cardio and all that. So yeah, I'm not really too worried about Roofy. The panic meter isn't going off or anything. Like you said, Clark faced just a really tough, grimy dude. Any names you guys want to see next for him? Maybe.
They're lightweight, right? This
Yeah,
is kind
but yeah, but he's not lightweight.
I think,
I don't know if I want to see him ranked yet.
yeah,
I
nah.
mean, I could see it maybe Dos Anjos if you want to just sacrifice him in the 15th rank, but like, finally just put him out of his misery up there. Maybe, but
I would
I I think Ruffy needs to fight like a Bobby Green type or something, like,
That's an interesting one.
one of those unranked vets.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would hate to do it, but a fun fight maybe against Jim Miller.
No, Clark,
Yeah, that
no,
might be some fun fight.
no, Clark. You don't have any fucking appreciation for the seniors, bro. What's to you?
Jim Miller, he's still fighting, man. He wants to fight. Give him,
I know, but we don't give him a roofie.
I mean, well, we gave him Bobby Green,
He's
so
gonna be sleep off a roofie, I swear. Like, no, we can't do that to him.
All right, though, guys. Let's move on to the prelims. Um, I missed a lot of it. I'm not gonna lie, but I know Jim Miller got a very nice looking guillotine, feel good story there. Tybura and the Dinas fight ended really weirdly. Anything on the prelims that you guys want to touch on before we wrap things up?
First of all, a couple of things. Denise is shit, but like, we're not gonna speak on that too much. This Roberto Romero guy, bro. First of all, he came in with a 8-3 record, 8-3-1, looking like he was getting teed up for Onama to like spark his ass. And no, he came out whooping Onama's ass round one. Um, I think over time, the fact that like he wasn't on a full camp, I think he got brought in like Thursday. So like he was there for like less than a week, less than a week's notice for this fight, but he was a dog in there and someone I'm definitely like looking to in the future with a full camp. I was really impressed with his effort in there. He just kind of gassed out. I mean, he fought David Onama like tooth and nail, like blow for blow. Onama took a unanimous decision, but like he really had to get it out the mud in this fight, and like it was like if you look at the odds, he was a minus 1,400 favorite, and it did not play out like that at all. It was damn near a pick 'em like in the actual fight. So I just want to shout out Roberto Romero's efforts and shit. Um, Unfortunately, I feel bad for Chris Weidman. He didn't get to fight at MSG, and he probably never will. Honestly,
Very winnable fight, also.
I mean, maybe if they go back quick, he can get in there one more time. They can reschedule it or something, but. He might that might have just been I'm sure this was probably gonna be his retirement fight and like he wanted to go out at home and he just never got that. So I feel bad for the guy. I don't know if you saw the Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee fight, but it was a banger. McGee looked fucking fantastic early. Um I think my biggest fear with him was how he was gonna deal with Martinez's leg kicks. And we didn't see that until round three, but like I think Martinez clearly won round three off the leg kicks. Like he landed like two when McGee was kind of fucked. So I mean, I think he obviously could have. That was a pretty obvious path for him that he chose to not take for most of the fight. I think if he would have started with that in round one, like he probably could have got McGee out of there with leg kicks. But shout out McGee, man. He looked. I mean, he's 34, but like. He might be an ageless wonder. He looked like
You look crazy.
real explosive in there, man. He was kicking Martinez's ass for like large stints of that fight until the leg kicks got involved for sure. So really high on him. He should be ranked like soon.
Anything else, guys?
Um, Mickey Gall probably gonna get fucking cut. Unfortunately. And then shout out Tybura, man. Like still hanging around, still gritting these victories out. Like every time he gets counted out, man. He's just a wily vet in there. Uh, yeah, he's been getting wins. He got the Tuivasa submission. He got this Denise TKO. I mean, even though it was kind of a questionable stoppage, but I mean, understandable. Denise was kind of fucked going into his corner, so I think he recovered pretty well and was ready to fight, but they just called it. Like they were like, "Oh, he was just too fucked going into the corner. Like we're just gonna call the fight off." But kind of fluky, but big win for Tybura, showing that age is just a number sometimes, man. This was a vet heavy card, man, and I think that the card played better than the name value like of it. So I was impressed with a lot of the fights,
It's valid.
but that's about it.
All right, yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Please check out the TikTok and the shorts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're gonna have some more news videos coming out later this week, probably talking about the new 310 news. So keep a lookout for that. Please leave a comment or two, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.